Hey, good evening, everybody. And it's Mike Quinn here from HireMilitary. I figure I'd take about 30 minutes to catch up with you all after this weekend. I spent about 30 minutes on Sunday night talking about profiles, and I realized at the end that I didn't get to as many of you as I'd like to. So I'm going to make an effort over the next couple of weeks to do these 30-minute blocks at a time when I have some free time, the kids are in bed, and take a look at some profiles. And so before I get into the profiles, though, I don't want to, there's a whole adage, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach a man a fish, he'll be able to eat for his life. Part of what I want to do is not just take a look at profiles and tell people what to fix. I mean, I could do that, but then, a year or 2 years down the road, you're looking for a job, you don't know what to change again. So I really want to get into the concept of branding with you all. And, it's something that's really about building trust. And that's what brands are, right? It's the trust you build. It's the reason you go to an Apple or a Microsoft. You look at those first because there's the trust those brands have built that show that you're going to get a quality product that's going to be top notch, whereas you may not have the same kind of comfort or trust with a lesser known brand. Even though the lesser known brand may be a better computer, Microsoft and Apple have built that trust over the years to give you that first look. So, when it comes to building a brand as an individual, I've got HireMilitary up here. We've built our trust over the last 16 months. We've got close to 125,000 followers and haven't spent a cent on advertising or promoting posts. We just stay consistent in sharing our story. We have a group of people that are very passionate about what we do, and we've built a sense of community within the military and veteran community that we're doing this for the right reason. And we truly are. But I know you guys didn't come on to learn how to build out your company page. Maybe we'll save that story for another day. Let's talk about personal brands, right? And personal brands as it comes to your job search, your career switch, whatever you really are looking to do with your career, and understanding that you have to continue to network while you're still in a career is just equally important. So what I want you to understand is that when we talk about a brand, right, and especially when we talk about building a brand on LinkedIn, it's three things, right? You need your profile, right? And your profile has to be good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? And I'll get to that in a minute. You need a network. You need to be connected to the right people that align with the content you want to share, and the right people that are going to help, or you will be able to help advance each other's career goals. And then you need to be able to engage, and that's one of the hardest parts that people have. And I'm going to walk you through a few things on this before I get to the profiles. But let's talk about your profile itself, right? Where the profile becomes important is your profile really is your professional identity. It gives us an idea of who you are, of what you do and what you want to do. It tells us a story of why we should consider you for certain roles, right? And it really is that first impression we get on people. But what I want people to understand is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It's never perfect, really. It's a living document. You constantly should be meddling with it on occasion, updating, changing words, maybe updating your picture and stuff like that. But it just really has to be good enough. And what I mean by that, it's got to be good enough to give you credibility, right? It's got to be good enough that I can take a look at it, or anybody could, to decide whether to accept that connection request, to decide whether to answer that message, or to go on and pursue that interview based on a recruiter or a hiring manager taking a look at the profile. So really focus on getting it good enough, and then keep working at it over time. But don't wait till your profile is perfect before you start actually engaging on LinkedIn, right? So we want to get it perfect. No, I mean, not perfect. We want to get it good enough so that you can go on and continue doing the rest of the stuff. So make sure, you have your picture, and it's a pleasant looking, smiling picture, ideally. Your background image, your headline reflects your professional identity. Your location is where you want to be from your work education. And then, you kind of have your employment experience and your degrees and certifications lined in there, right? Then you want to go to part two. Part two is really talking about your network. What you need to understand is that I'm going to come over here to LinkedIn. What you need to understand is the articles you see here in your feed, right, are anything that your connections, your first three connections, people you're connected to, like, comment, share, or post, right? So if anybody you're connected to likes, comments, shares, or posts something, it's in your feed somewhere. You could scroll forever on this, especially if you have large networks, and it will continually populate with information that comes from your connections. The algorithms start to shape it based on your engagement, what stuff you read, what you stop on, what you click on, what you comment on, in a way to give you more content that you want to see. But at the end of the day, this is all the stuff that your connections are like, comment, share, or posting. You know, I'm active in the veteran space. So you see John Buckley from sharing something from Rachel Wolford with Heroes Make America program. So it's kind of like a picture and a picture there. Both aligned with the veteran space, both doing great things. So now I'm going to flip it on you, though. And this is where, before we get into engagement, whenever you like, comment, share, or post something, it goes out to your network, right? So I've seen people say, I tried the engagement thing in the past and I got no connections, I got no likes, you know, I shared content, nobody liked it, nobody commented or whatever. Well, then what I would say to you is that means that either one, you're not sharing content that your network wants to see, right? Because if it's not good, I'm not going to see it, I'm not going to click on it. Or two, you're not connected to the right people, right? So maybe you're sharing content related to your professional identity, but your network is still pretty much the people you've worked with in the past and some friends and family, in which case, aside from our close family, not many of them are going to click on it. So you got to be able to go out and reach out and find and connect with those people that are going to be the ones that are interested in seeing the stuff that you're sharing. Very important here, right? And then the last part is the engagement itself. You know, when you engage, you need to start building your professional identity. And that goes in many different directions when you're engaging on LinkedIn. By simply taking a smiling picture when you're with somebody else or you go to an event and tagging them in the photos, you start to bring your network together. You show somebody that you've met, and their entire network, if they engage on it, will start to see that, you know, you've met that person, you're at an event. It starts to bring those networks together. But then there's the content you're sharing. You know, I see a lot of people get caught up, especially transitioning service members, get caught up in sharing transition-related content, right? Sharing their struggles, sharing the events they're attending, and everything else like that. And that's fine on the occasion. But when you do it too much, it does a couple things. One, it tells everybody you're transitioning, which, you know, might in some ways kind of take away from their knowledge or understanding of your ability to be able to do the job. So if you say you're a program manager in construction, engineering, and training, and you have 12 years of experience doing it, but then everything you post is about job fairs, and you post is about, you know, how hard it is to get your resume together and everything else, and you're not really setting the right professional identity for hiring managers outside of those in the specific defense or veteran space that are looking for transitioning service members. And keep in mind, that's a relatively small portion of the population that's directly working with us. Veterans are only about 6% of the population right now. And then you want to kind of make sure that you're giving people something to connect with. And so that's where the content comes, that original content comes with, or content that aligns with what you want to do from off platform. Let me just put out there that sharing another LinkedIn post really doesn't do much. Very rarely we see a shared post from something else on LinkedIn do that well. I mean, so John, let's see if I didn't look. So John shared this and it got eight likes and one comment in 5 hours. I would hazard to guess that John typically gets a lot more engagement than that, especially when you share something original. I know I've seen it particularly myself. So the most important thing you do for somebody to start building a relationship, engage, is actually comment and like, or actually show one of the different reactions. But when we talk about giving some people something to connect with, there's got to be something about your professional identity and your personal identity that makes people start to build trust. We can connect with somebody, see something. You know, one of my directors that I work for, Heidi, did a recent post about her father growing up. I mentioned it on a previous one, and her father facing discrimination, being told to get to the back of the bus when he came to the United States. And you know, I resonated with that, but what you could see is that everybody else that understood that message, that felt that same way, that same passion for diversity and inclusion, would feel an intuitive connection to Heidi when they read that, when they saw her father. And they saw the success she got because he pushed through all that, and he still had a love for the country, and he was able to continue growing. It's the same thing with other things, like, things that are important to you, things that you overcome. I saw Shantae Hall posted about women equality today, and it was a fantastic post. It resonated with a lot of people because she included images of women professionals from all over the veterans and active duty service, doing this to simulate the actual equality that we should all be going for, and we should be striving for as a community. And so, again, that's something that connects her. It builds bonds between their community. And then, I see other people sharing professional documents. I've seen, Lieutenant General Siemens, the Army G1, share documents about things that the G1 has done to better retain soldiers by giving them better choices for their next assignment. And I know that Sergeant Major Wardell Jefferson, the G1 Sergeant Major, has shared content the same. So they're showing something about their professional identity, things they've accomplished for an organization the size of the Army that is making life better for over 1 million soldiers. And that's something that would resonate with employers that are looking for people that are really growing their brand, right? If you're looking for someone that's going to be innovative, that's going to be, build on retention and help manage your workforce or grow your workforce, you want someone that's kind of overcome these challenges at scale. So, it's different things like that. And so what I share with you is that you've got to make sure that you're sharing something of yourself, something of your professional identity to give people to connect with, right? Blend it in. I tell people you should have a mix of stuff that's, professional. You should have a mix of every once in a while something that's somewhat personal but not Facebook-y, right? I tell people to stay away from the religious, the political, and the scantily clad, but that's up to you. It is your network. And start engaging with regularity. You should actually really aim for about 2 to 3 posts a week at a minimum and be consistent on that, right? So that was a mouthful. It was about 12 minutes. Let's get into some of the tactics of how we're going to do this. So the first thing I wanted to do is take you over to LinkedIn, right? And let's see if I can move this over to the side here. Okay, good. So what I want to do is show you how to connect with the right people, right? And I know some people have seen this before, but what makes LinkedIn truly different is the advanced search function they have. So you have the ability to go out and find people that you share something in common with and reach out and connect. And, there's really no other way you could do that, no other platform that gives you the ability to do this. And so I'm going to show an example. I'm going to go back to the tried and true transitioning service member job project manager, right? Everybody says they want to be a project manager at some point. Everybody above the rank of E6 has been a project manager. You get where I'm going with this. Until we get out to the real world and find out, like I did, that I really didn't want to be a project manager. Fantastic job, but there's a lot of different opportunities out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the search bar, and I want you to understand this: project manager. I'm going to hit enter. And you can do the same thing for mobile device. Now I'm going to hit people right here. And so that's given me over 28 million project managers in people with that title. So I want to find, I'm in the DC area, I want to find a project manager in the DC area. So I'm going to go to locations and type Washington, DC metro area, and hit apply. And that'll shrink it down quite a bit. So still over 390,000 on that area, but now I want to find somebody I have something in common with. So I'm going to come over here to all filters, and I'm going to scroll down here to past companies. I want to find an Army veteran. And so I'm going to look for U.S. Army past company right here, and hit apply. So now we're down to over 10,000. So 10,000 Army veterans that are project managers in the DC area. Now, some of them you blended in. You'll see if you went through this list, you'll see some of them had saying their professional identity as a project manager or manager, but they're still in the Army. One of their past jobs in the Army. So let's look at it. We're going to dial it down even better. Let's look at current companies. Let's look at EY, right? One of the largest, most prestigious consulting firms in the world. There should be a few in there. And boom. So there's 16 Army veterans, project managers working for EY in the DC area, right? So you can reach out to any of them. In fact, here's a couple that I haven't connected with. I'm going to do a no. But do it the right way. Normally I would just say so. EY and would love to join your professional. Let's do this. I'm also an Army veteran, so that way it's easier for you guys. And would love to join your professional network. So we're talking to Risha. So hi, Risha. I'm also an Army veteran. Did I spell that right? Yep. And would love to join your professional network. Best, Mike. Always try to add a personal message that really stands out, and I will send that. So I would send a note to Risha, knowing he's an Army veteran, knowing he works at EY in the DC area. You know, there may be an interest in some of the things that I post. At the very least, I could see the things if I was interested in security, architect, IT, risk in merger and acquisitions. You know, I would see some things he would post, and I would comment on them as well, right? And you can do that for anything. If you didn't like, let's go back up here. If you don't want to look at EY, you can go down and look at, yeah, there we go. So let's look at the Department of Veteran Affairs, always hiring. And there's a bunch there. So over 100 Army veterans working at the VA. And you can reach out to David Brown and say, you know, add a note. Hi, David. And don't make fun of my typing. And this keyboard's kind of small. I gotta get a better keyboard. Love to join your professional network. So you get where I'm going with this. So I send the invitations off. You know, some will accept, some won't. You get where you get. You know, you got to kind of build it up over time. But you know, you want to go out and find the right people in the networks. Build a network that works for you, right? In whatever field, industry that you want to go in, and start to grow your network organically over time. And then what you're going to see is that those individuals you're connecting with are going to be engaging on content. They're going to be engaging on content like John did, and you'll start to see content in your feed from their secondary connections. And that's where that ripple effect starts to come in. You'll start to see content that you would have never seen because somebody like John commented on it, right? And that's how you start to build that engagement, that network for value. Now, when we go to engagement itself, so you know, you have that profile, you have that network, you've done some really good searches over time. Don't try to do it all in one night. If you connect with like 200 people in one night, I don't know what the exact number is. LinkedIn will stop you from sending connection requests until a bunch of people add them. They don't want you just spamming people. So then we want to move over to actual engagement, right? So there's a couple simple ways. I mean, I'm not going to spend tonight showing you how to type a post, and you know, or to share a picture. You can probably figure that pretty easily. But we're going to talk about sharing a post, right? And here's your picture, and you can add video, and you can share documents, so PDF, whatever. But let's say you find something off platform that resonates with you that you want to share. So many of you may know, and if you don't, you should. I am a diehard Eagles fan, right? And I waited my whole life for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. You couldn't have had a more magical Super Bowl win. You know, Nick Foles, they were a Super Bowl favorite earlier this season. Carson Wentz gets hurt. Nick Foles comes in, has a rough first or second game, and then just hits a roll throughout the entire playoffs and goes toe-to-toe with Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. And, the greatest of all time, but for one night, Nick Foles was a little bit better. And that made it the day. So I want to share that, say I want to highlight that. What I do is I find that article off platform, and it could be anything. It could be on emergency management. It could be on project management, HR, whatever. You find that article off here. You're going to copy it, copy the URL, come back to LinkedIn, and simply just paste the URL. Now you'll see in a minute the landing page will come up. Once that landing page is up there, once the picture is shown, you're going to want to delete the URL. And the reason being is that LinkedIn is not huge on URLs, web addresses, or email addresses in the written text that goes along with the profile. If you keep them on there, you will not get a large amount of dissemination. So, I have the article I want to share. I say, it is a great memory, and looking forward to the new season. I'm just horrified at how many comments on my typing I'm going to get. So now I write the text, and if you're going to share something, always share 2, 3, 4 lines about why you want to share it. Keep in mind the first 3 to 4 lines are what show up when you post it. But I want to also show you, so it's important. If I just post this, it'll go out to my network. But what I want to do is I want to draw attention to people in my network. I want people to see that I posted this and to know that I did. So you want to tag people. Easy for somebody to understand, but say I wanted to tag my buddy Chris Thorne. See the @ symbol. Start typing their name, no space. Chris pops up. Chris Thorne, that's his tag, right? I'm going to backspace because it doesn't fit rel, so I would say Chris. He's still tagged. Check this out, right? Now, by doing this, it still only goes out to my network. But what happens is Chris gets a notification up here that says Michael Quinn mentioned you in a post, right? And more likely than not, if you're tagging someone that would see value in that post, they'll check it out and they'll like or comment, right? And that's how you start to draw the right people. But now, I'm looking forward to the new, ready, at Philadelphia. I'm looking at Philadelphia. Looking to the new Philadelphia Eagles season. And if by doing this, I'm tagging the Eagles, and I'm sure they have a huge following on LinkedIn. So if the Eagles actually saw this post or saw that I tagged them, they check it out, whoever's running the page, and they click like or they comment, then that could be a huge boost as well. So don't forget to tag companies in your post. Whoever's managing the page, if they're savvy enough, they understand that engagement from a company standpoint really helps build trust and build followers. And then the last piece I want to talk about before I get into the profiles is the hashtag, right? It holds a little bit of a different value as I understand it on LinkedIn. So what hashtags do is hashtags index information. So if you include a hashtag in a post, then at any time you can go back and search for that hashtag in the search bar, and it'll pull up every post that has that specific hashtag in it somewhere, right? So say I want the hashtag DoD SkillBridge, right? There you go, DoD SkillBridge. And if it doesn't pop up, you can just create one of your own. So if I were to post this right now, it would go out to my network. Chris and the Philadelphia Eagles would get notifications that say that Michael Quinn mentioned them in a post. And this tag would be in there that anybody that searched for DoD SkillBridge as a hashtag would find this content, right? Some very important things to remember as you're building your posts. Now, I'm not going to post this right now, but I just want you to understand how to do it. If you have to add a link or an email address, go ahead and always put it in the comments below. Just let people know, hey, the link's in the comments below. All right, I'm going to delete this one right here. Just another side thing, if you want to link your Twitter to there, you can actually add your Twitter account. And this would go out to LinkedIn and my Twitter page. So something to keep in mind. So I'm going to X out of this. I do not want to keep it. But I want to show you, if you search for the hashtag DoD SkillBridge, it's obviously not going to be in there. but there's the hashtag. I'm going to follow that. Anyway. And you can see anybody that posted it, it should be in here somewhere. There it is. DoD Skill Bridge. And so you can go by and sort through all your posts. You'll see all the ones that were shared. There's Matt sharing something fantastic. There's Matt again. I'm going to like that. But while you're seeing all these, you can also sort by top, or you can sort by most recent, which will show you the most recent pictures. So here's some good ones right here. The most recent ones. Stuff that you can find. And you can do military transition. You can do whatever you want. You can start to search for the right hashtags. But it's just something simple to add to your profiles. I try to add one or two if the space is there. Just to help create that index of talent. All right. So now. Enough of my talking. I said I was going to spend 30 minutes, 25 minutes. I really apologize for that. So for the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to come down here and check out some profiles. Oh, that's not the right one. So let's see what we've got here for profiles for me to review. If you are interested in me looking at your profile, please comment, look at my profile. Hey, Michael, look at my profile. So. Look at that. Somebody got in first. So let's take a look at Demita Vital. I already see one of my least favorite ways to start a profile. So Demita, I'm going to assume that's a good smile. I bet you smile better than that. But I do like the potentially the choice to retire. But I think I would like to see a little bit more smile. You look a little uncomfortable there. So I'm guessing if it's a selfie, maybe have somebody else there help you take the picture and kind of coax that real smile out of you. But I'd like to see the background image changed. I showed that on my other one from Sunday night. Now here's transitioning Army senior leader, management and IT professional. So, when I check out your profile, Demita, I will say right off the bat, I have no idea. I don't know what a management and IT professional is. I don't know what you're looking for. What I do know is that you probably don't know either. I don't know when you're getting out. And so that's something I would take a look at. So I'll go down and see if I can figure out what you would be doing. So I'm assuming you're going to be staying in the clean area. If you don't want to stay in clean, I would change that to the area where you want to be. So you might even want to shift it, especially for the IT area, to the Austin area, or down to San Antonio. If you want to go down to San Antonio, you can figure out where you want to go. But if you want to stay local and clean, make sure that the jobs you want are there. I would screw around here. So you say senior transitioning Army senior leader. And then you come down here and say information technology manager, program manager, and Army veteran with 27 years of business acumen. So this is kind of confusing to me. So I will tell you, and I'm a retired sergeant major myself, that you don't really have 27 years of business acumen as it relates to the private sector, right? No sergeant major really is developed that kind of a business acumen out there. And another thing is you're not getting hired as a sergeant major, and there's no job you're looking for that's going to require 27 years. Unless it's back in the government, working as a DoD civilian, in which case you're probably already networking your way in those roles. So, Demita, I would really like to start to focus on, what you want to do, and start to highlight that more in your profile. So, I see your brigade command sergeant major, and a tactical signal brigade. So, I would like to see, and that means you're probably, so you're G6 sergeant major. So you have a rich and varied IT signal network administration background from actual probably hands-on doing, because you've been doing this for a while, to a management level as well, from a programmatic standpoint as well. So what I'd like to see more is, instead of talking about this transitioning senior leader, I'd like to see more about what kind of skills experience you have. So I'd love to see some certifications there. It really helps. But I do see that you have a master's degree in information technology. So that's huge. I would definitely take those years off. We don't need to see those. We just need to know you have those degrees. So what I'd like to see you do is probably go back about 10 years, maybe 12 years, Demita. And I'd like to see maybe something simple, maybe project manager or program manager or IT manager. And then start to talk about the specific examples of IT management you have in your career, whether it's a network administration, whether it's tactical SIGINT, whether it's any kind of cybersecurity, information security. I'd like to see you break that down in your headline, and I would definitely love to see you include your clearance, which I'm going to guess is a TS, but at least a secret would be huge, right? So let's give anybody looking for those specific skills something to latch onto in your headline right here. I would take out the transitioning Army senior leader. Let's be honest, Demita, I'd love to see you show yourself as a professional in your chosen field, comfortable in the skills and experience, degrees and certifications you've had. So I would take this active top secret out here. I didn't even see it. And I would move it down in here. And I would really just focus on Demita Vital. And I don't know if it's Masters at MIT or MSIT or whatever. I'm not sure about that one, but it should be fine. And then we'll come down here and let's talk about, so you're a brigade sergeant major. I saw that you were a division G6 sergeant major. I'd love to see information about 10, 12 years of experience managing the types of programs, numbers of workstations, budgets, number of people. Let's reflect that in those first 3 lines, and then talk about how your career is supported by any of the certifications you've earned, the degrees, and the clearances. And so what you'd be showing me is in the headline, what you want to do and why we would consider you for those roles. And then in the summary or about section, you'd be showing us really the scope of your experience, which is so much more that you have here. And then I'd like to see down here the resume type stuff, your master resume. So I'd like to see, I don't like these gray boxes too often. I left mine on there. I'll probably go in and change it for one. So you can actually change it to the U.S. Army one if you don't have a brigade page. And then say, as the brigade command sergeant major for the 11th Theater Tactical Signal Brigade. And that would cover that. But I would change the title maybe to a senior program manager, or an IT program manager, something along those lines. And then start talking about all your accomplishments as they relate to the IT field. Same thing with command sergeant major, same thing with the G6 sergeant major. So I would at the very least lead with the civilianized version of those roles with a duties and responsibilities, 3 to 4 lines of the scope of your experience, and then all those bullets as they relate to each one of those jobs, right? And if you want to still be competitive for the defense sector, I would lead with senior IT project manager, and then do the / brigade command sergeant major. That way, anybody in the defense sector would automatically know. They don't have to go search and try to figure out what rank you were. They'll know automatically the type of experience and the type of relationships and the knowledge you'll have. I go down here to education, like I said, get rid of the degrees. I would actually shift these skills to reflect the top 3 skills that you would have. But see, I'm going to actually endorse you right here because I know that as a command sergeant major, brigade command sergeant major, I would endorse you for leadership. But I would probably reflect those to align with what you want to do. Maybe some IT project management, maybe networking, whether signals intelligence, whatever it is. And then down here, I see you've gotten 2. I would actually give one as well, not back to one of these 2 people. I see down here. Hopefully we look at your interests. But I know since you're seeing this, you probably follow HireMilitary. Let's see, it's down here, down here. Look at that, perfect. So you're good. So Demita, there you go. That should be good enough. What I'll say is you can find on my profile. If you go to my profile and you scroll down here, you see the ultimate LinkedIn cheat sheet. That can help me walk through the basics on what we're trying to do. I'm going to go back over to HireMilitary. I'm going to refresh it. And I'm going to check and see for somebody else. I'll probably do 1 or 2 more, and then we'll call it an evening. All right. Let's go. So I'm going to scroll down. I don't want to get the first one. Let's see. Christy, it is too cold for me to do the Iditarod. Maybe some other year. I was trying to think about that. How would you even get on a plane knowing it's going to be minus 30-some degrees, 40-some degrees when you get off? I have a hard time with that. You guys can probably convince me, but it's going to take time. We got a lot of hellos. Eric, you're awesome. You know what, Eric? I'm going to go to you because I was at INSCOM. So here we'll talk about Eric. I mean, this is fine how it is. Command Sergeant Major for U.S. Army Intelligence Security Command. I'll tell you, he does a lot of work in the nonprofit space. I don't know how he can manage. The guy's tireless. I see him with his family, with his kids. I know what the INSCOM Command Sergeant Major's work schedule is like because I used to help manage it with him for Sergeant Major Vargas. And then he's got all this work with Operation Enduring Warrior. So I like that he's got the background image. As he starts to think towards transitioning, I would like to see him show us a little bit more about what he wants to do. Does he want to work in the defense sector? Does he want to go into an HR, project management, intel? He's going to have to narrow that down for us. I'd like to see him, or does he want to stay in the nonprofit space, which he could very much do. For those of you that don't know Eric, that's kind of his smile. But I would love to see him try to do a little bit better of a smile, but I don't know. We're actually going to get that anytime soon. Maybe a few years after he's out. But he's got a good. He's growing his network out. So here we go. He's the principal advisor, commanding general. 18,000 people. So I'd like to see Eric shrink this a little bit, and then I'd like to see him start to add the accomplishments that he's had in his 2 years and 7 months at INSCOM. I think that would be fantastic. Same thing as you step down here, you can see he's the president of Enduring Warrior. In fact, let's take a look at that real quick. I think what they do is they take wounded warriors. Yeah. So they honor, empower, and motivate nations of wounded warriors and first responders. They actually take wounded warriors to do like Spartan races around the country, which is incredible. So he's got it done right. He's got his INSCOM role on the top, and he's got his work for Operation Enduring Warrior there. Then he's got his time at ForceCom. Again, let's see if he's got anything. So Eric, I'd love to see these all show what your job was. They don't tell me what you've done. And so I'd love to see you start to add those major accomplishments in there, bit by bit as you work on your master resume. And we got down here education. I would take the years out. For those, you can leave the activities societies because that may be something people connect to. I really like the volunteer experience. And then as you figure out what you want to do, I'd probably shift some of these around. Good. And here's another good thing. He's received one, but he's given three, which is fantastic. It shows that he is a leader that takes care of others. So that's good. That's good. I've talked to Eric about this before, so he should be pretty good. But we're going to go back here. We're going to check one or two more since Eric was pretty quick. I'm going to update this page. I have too much fun doing this stuff. Let's go down and see somebody that came on late. I don't want to miss the people that came on late. There you go, Herb. I am going fishing. Let's see, 35 minutes. There we go. Adelpho campus. Hey, Michael, look at my profile. Okay. Let's log on and check it out. There we go. All right, so I'm good with the picture. I like it. Really good, genuine smile. I actually like the background. That red color with the blue shirt kind of makes your picture pop pretty well. So that's pretty good. The background image is fine. But now here is where we run into some errors there at Adelpho. So Marine Corps recruiting. So I'd love to see that headline reflect what you want to do. If you are a Marine Corps recruiter, I would actually have it reflect that instead of just Marine and Marine Corps recruiting. So if you want to go into recruiting, I'd like to hear you talk about what kind of recruiting you've done and what kind of recruiting you want to go into when you get out. And that way, whether it's, high volume, whether it's, third party, whatever you want to do, whether it's executive recruiting, you're going to have to do some informational interviews with recruiters to find out how your skill sets would relate. I will tell you, you have to get a little bit more proficient on LinkedIn. So that's good. I would want to add to these connections. So I tell people, really, the starting point for a mature network is around 501 connections. That 500 plus shows you've put in the work to build a strong network. Let's go down here. Really haven't shared that much. Please don't tell me that. Let's see if the first one. Look at that. Okay, so you've only been on it for a few days and someone told you to follow me. And you haven't posted yet, so we'll get you there. So we're going to go back over here. I feel honored. I'm one of the first ones. So, all right, let's talk about experience. I have no summary section. I'd love to see the summary section that tells us more about this person behind the smile, which I absolutely love. So I'd like to see that about section that talks about your overall experience and what you want to do and what you bring to a team. I'd love to see that headline updated. I'd love to see here. You don't give me any numbers. It's your job. I'd love to see, you've been there for almost 3 years. Have you been recognized for any achievements? Have you, been one of the top producers? Have you built any campaigns in New York City that have been successful? Have you been involved in the social media or the sourcing of any of these candidates? Tell me what you've done as a Marine during those 2 years and 9 months. And then as we go back for the previous 6 years, you don't give me anything. You got so I know that being in special operations means you're a high performer, but you've got to give us a little bit more about what you've done during those 6 years and 2 months, right? Understand there's a classified aspect to some of the stuff we do. You don't need to tell us specific missions, but you can tell us things that you've done to impact your organization, things that you've done from a planning perspective, from a leadership, from a management, or if you were involved in promoting special operations from recruiting. You want to tie all of that together. So go ahead and do that way. And then we're going to scroll down. I would probably start to focus on the skills. I don't know if you want to go in sales, but if you want to go in sales, you can add that to your headline. And yeah. So you're fairly new. I'm going to send you a connection request. Since you follow me, you should know me already. So that should be good. And we'll move on to one more. And then I'm going to call it a night. It's already been a little longer than I'd want to. All right, so we'll go down. There you go. Hopefully you're still on Adelpho. All right, let's see. Nicholas. Since I don't want to spend all time. All right, so I am okay with the picture. Is that a polo shirt? It looks good. I'm okay with the picture. I'd like to see a smile, but I'm okay with it. I really do not. This is like a dark and gloomy photo of the station. It kind of doesn't paint the Pentagon in a positive light, so I don't get a good vibe from this. I'd want to see something else that really aligns with what you want to do. If that's what resonates with you, that picture, it just doesn't give me the right vibe. And I don't know how anybody else feels on that. Feel free to comment for Nicholas's benefit. But there's a lot, if you want to share the Pentagon or you want to share the Metro or people on the Metro, whatever you're selling it for, you can find a little bit of a brighter picture, a little bit of a clearer picture for that. So, all right, let's look at this. So without looking at anything else, I'm going to assume you're an HR, but you've got senior project manager, human capital management, consultant, and PMP. And it doesn't really tell me what. So if I'm going to have you be a senior project manager, what types of projects would you have experience in? If you're going to say you're a consultant, then what would you consult on? Right? Would we send you to consult on, when you say on human capital management, that's pretty broad. So are we talking about HR transformation? Are we talking about manning and staffing, training and development? Are we talking about strategic communications, marketing? You get where I'm going with this. So I'd love to see you talk a little bit more about either the type of projects or the consultants, because right now I'm getting this confused headline. I'd rather move this PMP up here after your last name and then start to dial in what you want to do with this. I'd love to see more connections. 148 is not really enough, but I see right now that you want to continue to work in the DC area. I'm assuming that's from the Pentagon as well. So then we're going to come down to see if your summary aligns with your headline. So you say senior project manager, and then I see experienced senior program manager with a demonstrated and tested history of working complex and detailed. Okay, so I honestly, no offense, don't take this the wrong way, Nicholas. I have not seen a more worthless, it's harsh, first statement in about a long time. This is all acronyms, and it doesn't tell me anything. And I'm going to look down here and bet you have a much better. All right, come on, Nicholas. So, I look down here, and we talk about the kind of experience you have. You could do a lot better than that, right? So you can talk about, how you have. So first of all, if you're going to say you're project manager, right? And you should say project manager in your about section. But if you're going to say PMI certified project manager with over 12 years of experience managing human capital projects ranging in scope up to, I don't see any numbers in here. So up to how many people those projects ran with what kind of budgets and stuff like that. And then you can talk about specific experience when it comes to disability and benefits and evaluations. When it comes to knowledge management. You could start to talk about those things. Staff managing staffs. Those would go in here and really start to tie everything together in a nice way. Make sure you add those numbers. The dollar signs, the percentages, the numbers of people, the numbers of locations, right? Let's get rid of some of this fluff in the beginning. If you want to add, the stuff about creativity to build the end user UX or company. I'd really like to see it be a little bit more, start with a little bit of solid numbers, and then you go tell the story afterwards. And if you're going to tell me about how you want to, why you're passionate about leading a team to bring out the creativity and people develop something great for the end user company, I'd love to see you follow up with that with some examples of how you did it, or why that's so important to you. Same thing. If you're going to talk about, this is great. This is not anything I would have seen. I would not have seen that based on here or a glance down here. And that's fantastic. So I would highlight that experience in the first couple lines as well. Those are words that are going to be very important to people that are looking for work on defense contracts or even in the private sector. And then as we come down here, I like that you did translate the roles down here. I will tell you that nobody really knows what a superintendent is outside of the Air Force. I'm not quite exactly. I'm guessing it's kind of like an NCOIC, but it can be different levels. So I would kind of translate this as well. So maybe a senior manager, maybe you're a project manager, maybe you're a program manager. But superintendent really doesn't relate as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not perfect on all of this. But I'd love to see you. Look at this. I see human resource, information systems, HRIS. I see technology. I just don't see numbers of people, numbers of systems, and anything that you did with those. Man, Nicholas, you could be doing fantastic here. So really what I would do is I would really flesh these out. I would make it like your master resume. I would tie it all together, make sure that your headline, your summary, and your work experience align. I like that you went back 12 years here. I would probably say 12 years up in here, and align with it down there. I love the degrees. Okay. Yep. You got it. You've got program manager, consulting, and human capital management. Honestly, I would focus this a little bit more instead of the program management. Maybe a little bit of the things that make you stand out. Some of the HRIS or some of the Oracle databases, along with the human capital piece, could be very beneficial. And then I see you get one, Trish. I would go out and reach out to some of your leaders and see if they would, or former leaders that are out in the sector, and see if they would give you some recommendations. Okay, we're good here. Yeah, and that's it. So Nicholas, sorry for being a little harsh on the about section. But I'll tell you that what I saw on the top of your profile and what I saw when I got down to the bottom were two different people. And if you can tie them together and reflect them, I don't have any doubt that you're going to have fun finding your next career. It seems like you have the background and experience to really be a benefit to any organization. So everybody, hey, I'm going to go back over here to the Ultimate LinkedIn cheat sheet. You guys can find it on my page. Thank you very much. We're about 50 minutes. I went about 10 minutes, 20 minutes longer than I wanted to. But we'll be back on it hopefully again this week for about 30 minutes. And I'll go over some more proposals as we go. Encourage your friends to follow HireMilitary so that they get the notification when we do go live. All right? And thanks and have a great night.